The wind is a constant voice across this endless grass. It speaks of dust, of distant train, and of blood, and untastes it. His head low, the haft of his flint miner's dipped spear cool against his palm. His eyes, narrowed against the glare, do not scan the horizon for the herds of bison, but for the subtle breaks in the rhythm of the landscape. Behind him, a careful distance, Sora moves with a different kind of quiet. She carries their youngest, a small, warm weight bound to her chest in a sling of hide, while the older child, a boy of 5 winters, clings to her leg, his small steps mimicking her own. They are a single, very organism, a fragile piece of hominid history moving through a world of giants. This existence, a daily negotiation with hunger and fear, is the harsh reality of prehistoric life. For 2 days, the feeling has been growing. It began with the scavengers, the wolves and coyotes giving a wide berth to a fresh bison carcass. Its massive rick being shattered by a force their own spears could not match, and unnoted it with a silent grunt, a shift of his weight that Sora understood completely. They changed their course, moving downwind, making themselves smaller against the immensity of the plain. But the feeling followed. A single, deep paw print found at the edge of a stream where they stopped for water, far too large for the mountain lions that haunt the higher rocks. At night, the fire seems to push the darkness back less and less, the sounds from the blackness beyond growing bolder. These are the moments that test the survival skills passed down through generations. Now it is undeniable. The wind shifts again, a warm gust from the south, and it carries the scent. It is a thick, predatory musk, heavy with the promise of violence. It is the smell of a cat, but amplified, ancient, and unfreezes, every muscle tensing. He saw this creature once, as a boy, a flash of tawny muscle and impossibly long teeth dragging a young horse into the shadows. Sora smells it too. She stops instantly, her hand moving to cover her son's mouth. Not to silence a sound he might make, but to stop him from breathing in the terror that now hangs in the air. Her eyes lock with Ainan's across the swaying grass. No words are needed. The unspoken trust that binds them is absolute. The hunt they were on is over. A new one has begun, and they are the prey. The vast herds of Pleistocene megafauna are no longer just a source of food. They are now cover, camouflage, a living shield in a world suddenly owned by the shadow that stalks them. The sun climbs, relentless, burning the vast expanse of the plain. Anan and Sora know this land, its deceptive distances, its sudden, brutal changes. They have tried to outmaneuver the shadows for a day and a night, circling, doubling back, finding temporary refuge in the sparse, gnarled trees that offer little more than psychological comfort. But the signs persist. The prints are closer, fresher. The Asmeladonas are not merely trailing. They are anticipating. Their desperation, fueled by the Alpha's injury, makes them unavengable intelligent, a mirror of their own species' relentless drive. This is the stark reality of human evolution. The constant pressure from powerful predators shaped the very fabric of our ancestors' minds. The silent understanding between Anan and Sora deepens into a grim resolve. To continue fleeing is to succumb to a slower, more agonizing end. They must turn, they must fight. Their eyes, honed by generations of observation, scan the landscape for an advantage. Anan remembers a place, a deep, winding arroyo cut into the earth by ancient waters. Its walls steep and crumbling. It is a natural funnel, a place where a larger creature would be confined, its powerful bulk a hindrance. A plan, born of desperation and the sharp edge of intellect, begins to form. They will not outrun the inevitable. They will choose where it happens. This is the hard choice, the pivot from hunted to hunter, a testament to the adaptive ingenuity of early humans. Sora holds her youngest closer, her face a mask of primal fear and fierce determination. The boy, sensing the shift, clings to her, his small hand instinctively seeking the warmth of hers pure minus half. They move with a new purpose, a grim choreography. The arroyo is a scar in the earth, barely wide enough for one of the immense cats to pass comfortably. Here, they will make their stand. Anam begins to gather stones, jagged and heavy, positioning them along the arroyo's rim, ready to be dislodged. Sura, meanwhile, inspects their limited arsenal. Her focus is on the lithic technology she carries. The spear points, meticulously flaked from churned obsidian. She uses a smaller, sharper stone to refine the edges. Her breath coming in short, controlled bursts. Each strike, each removed flake, is a prayer, a desperate act of creation against the overwhelming power of nature. The sun dips, painting the sky in violent streaks of orange and purple. The air grows cold, and with it, the pervasive scent of the stalkers intensifies. They are close now, moving with a chilling patience. The family hunkers down, the children huddle between their parents. There is no fire tonight, only the cold, hard rock and the desperate thrum of their own hearts. As they wait, silent and prepared, they embody the essence of Homo sapiens, not through brute strength, but through the crucible of collective will and sharpened wit. What you witness now, what you feel in the tightening of your own chest, is not merely a story of the past, but an echo of the very instincts that forged us. Join us. Then, in this vigil, become a silent chronicler of the unwritten struggles that shape the bedrock of our existence. The trap is set. The dawn will bring the reckoning. The grey light of pre-minus dawn seeps into the aura, cold and unforgiving. The first shadow appears at the entrance, a fluid silhouette of immense power. It is the female, younger and healthier. She pauses, just in the air, her head low. They low. Guttural growl rumbles from her chest, a sound that vibrates through the very rock. From behind her, a ragged cough and a heavier tread signal the arrival of her mate. The old male, his gait is uneven, a limp in his powerful hindquarters betraying the injury that has driven their desperation. This is the moment documented in the silent stories of prehistory, a clash of wills at the dawn of a new age. The terror is absolute, but it has been forged into a weapon. As the male lurches forward, impatient, Anam gives a sharp, bird-like cry. 1, 2. Sura heaves the largest drop pile. The stones cascade down the steep wall, a clumsy avalanche of shattered earth and stone. It is not enough to kill, but it strikes the old male's injured leg, sending him roaring in a fury of pain and frustration. He stumbles, crashing against the narrow wall, momentarily disoriented. This is the opening. Anam lunges from his hiding place, not at the cats, but at the opposite wall, his spear a bracing pole. He uses it to kick off, driving his second, shorter spear deep into the exposed neck of the beast. The obsidian point sinks into thick muscle. It is a terrible, wounding blow, but not a fatal one. The male less milled and fatalist thrashes, its roar turning into a wet shriek, its iconic teeth snapping at the air. Uselessly. Before Anam can recover, the female is on him. She moves with a speed that defies her size. The blur of tawny muscle, Sura screams, a sound of pure anguish, and throws herself down the slope, her own spear held like a desperate barrier. The children, hidden in a small cleft, are silent, paralyzed by a sight no young mind should ever witness. Sura's charge is a diversion, a suicidal act of altruism. The female turns, her attention split for a single, vital second. It is all Anam needs. Ignoring the fire in his own leg where a claw has torn him open, he scrambles for his primary spear and drives it with the full weight of his body into the female's side, aiming for the space behind the churning front leg. The impact throws them both against the rock. For a moment, they are a single, struggling mass of flesh and flint, a tableau of the brutal struggle that defines the story of ancient humans. The cat screams a high, piercing shriek as the spearhead finds her lump. She collapses, twitching, her lifeblood staining the dusty ground a dark, shocking red. The old male, bellowing unbleeding, tries to rise, but another volley of stones from Sura sends him crashing down again, where he finally lies still, The sun now crests the horizon, its light illuminating a scene of brutal finality. The silence in the arroyo is profound, broken only by the ragged breathing of the two adults and the first, hesitant whimper of their son. They are alive. Anan is badly wounded, his leg a ruin of flesh and blood. Sora is bruised, exhausted, but her eyes are fixed on her children, who are now emerging from their hiding place, their faces pale with shock. There is no triumph here, no roar of victory. There is only the grim accounting of survival. They have purchased this dawn with blood, terror, and a piece of their own spirit. The carcasses of the great cats, symbols of this continent's ancient power, are now just meat and bone, their threat extinguished. This is the raw data from which the science of archaeology reconstructs our past, finding in scarred bone on our misplaced tool the epic of our ascent. This family's ordeal is more than a single story of human ancestors. It is a microcosm of the great turning point. It is the moment when collaborative strategy and the courage born of familial bonds proved superior to sheer predatory force. This is the instinct that we carry, coded into our very being, the capacity to look into the face of an insurmountable threat, not as individuals, but as a unit bound by foresight and care. Their desperate plan, their sacrifice, their victory, it is the quiet, unwritten blueprint for the village, the fortress, and the city. It is the primal source of our greatest strength. How many dawns were bought at such a price, on forgotten plains and in silent valleys, so that we might one day stand here and wonder at their echo. The chronicler's journey is to bear witness. The silence that follows the struggle holds the deepest truths. And what of the ghosts that walk these ancient lands, long before humans ever set foot upon them?